Hey guys, this is Brayden Hall, a 17-year-old country artist from the small town of Ayr, Ontario. You can listen to my new song, Ain't Nothing New, available on all platforms now. This is On The Porch with Front Porch Music.
I had a flashback memory of, and this might not even make the podcast because it's dumb, but I had a flashback memory of us at the CCMA red carpets. And the people who were beside us, they were like, give us your best yeah, and you're just like, yeah!
Yeah! I know. They posted that too.
Did they really?
That's
I
fun.
had like the biggest flashback to that today, and I was like, Jenna, do you remember this, or was that just me? Did this actually happen?
It happened. And then I look at everyone else's, like Sasha and Brett, and they're just like normal.
I had to give Sasha a pep talk. They asked her that, and she turned to me, and I was like, "You can do this." And she goes,
I'll do anything for a little PR. Any PR is good PR.
"Oh my god." Welcome back to On the Porch with Front Porch Music.
That's your host, Jenna.
I wanted to sound like a grandpa.
You did not sound like a grandpa. You sounded like a Muppet.
Oh. I think grandparents sound like Muppets sometimes.
Try again.
No.
Well, this week on the porch, we have another returning guest.
Repeat offender.
We have Alli Walker joining us.
Last time we talked to Alli was 2022, and a lot has changed for her since then. She's moved twice. Once to BC, Victoria, and Kelowna, and then 3 times since. And then down to Nashville, where she's now based out of. She signed a record and publishing deal, made her way to Nashville, found herself in a room with Walker Hayes, has recently found herself in a studio with Gretchen Wilson with her upcoming single.
It's been a wild year for Alli. She has been on the side of a wall in Nashville. She's had been on the side of a bus driving downtown Nashville. She wasn't driving, but the picture of her was driving downtown Nashville. And she's been touring around. She played a ton of festivals in Canada last year. To say it's been a big year for Alli is kind of an understatement.
I could not agree more. We had a lot of fun, mostly because we like to have fun and not be super serious, but she told us some pretty interesting things about what she's learned over the last year, too.
So here's our chat with Alli Walker.
Wow, we have a repeat guest, repeat offender.
Yeah,
That's how we call him, Logan.
Up on the porch.
Welcome back, Alli Walker.
Thank you. I find it very hard to have a quote-unquote interview with you guys because you're my friends, and then I just like spill tea and act weird when I should be very normal. So I apologize for everything that's going to come out of my mouth.
Okay, I think we have a lot of things to talk about today.
It's been a few years since you've been on the porch here.
Really?
You were way back in season 1, weren't you?
You were.
What
Season
do we
1.
even talk about?
Come on.
I wish we should have gone through this.
You should read the episode description right now, Jenna.
Okay, put me on the spot. 1 sec.
What kind of... Oh, maybe it's for my... Like, during my album, my last album.
Okay, title, Going Viral on TikTok with country singer Alli Walker. We changed the title for SEO at some point. This week, we are joined on the porch by country music Alli Walker. We love Alli and really enjoyed getting to know her more. I didn't write this. That must have been Logan.
Yeah, that's a lie.
Super nice.
Must have been AI.
We talked about being an expert and putting in your 10,000 hours. We also learned that her favorite instrument is the bagpipes, and she's really good at playing them. Well, that comes full circle, because we're going to have to talk about that today.
Yeah.
We could have talked to Alli all day about bad things. She has a new single out called Maybe I'm Still Drunk. Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
Whoa.
That was my second song from that album.
Yeah. That's the first song you sent me before it was released.
And that's one of the only songs I didn't write.
A little humble brag there, Jenna.
Sorry.
I get music first.
Yeah, she texts me.
Yeah, what'd you write today? I want to hear it. Wow, okay. I wonder what this one's going to say. Alli Walker went viral with bagpipes. Because you did.
What?
I feel like we should start there. Virality with The Whiskey's Gone.
Mm-hmm. Still love that.
Period.
And since then, I've been chasing that next bagpipe hit.
I feel
That's
like
the first time that sentence has ever been said in the history.
Actually, literally though, like my life revolves around writing bagpipe songs now.
what?
Yeah, literally. I had a show in Nashville and like my team came out and they had never seen me play live. And they're like, oh my God, like everyone loves the bagpipes. You need, like, because I always thought I was not, like, I didn't want to be the bagpipe girl. But now everyone's like, you are the bagpipe girl. Like, this is awesome. So I'm like, screw it. Let's just lean into it.
I remember the
And
first time your manager was like, we gotta drop the bagpipe thing. And then he saw you play the bagpipes live and he was like, I get the bagpipe thing.
yeah, literally the day I met him, he's like, I want to manage you, but if you play the bagpipes, I'm not into it.
How about now?
Yeah, how about now? And yeah, so I'm trying to write that bagpipe smash hit. Like literally today we wrote a bagpipe song. So, and I spent all of Christmas learning a 15-minute bagpipe medley for my set. 15 minutes of bagpipes.
Okay, that is a lot of bagpipes. I'm gonna say.
I know, but my set's coming up are 90 minutes, which are so long. So I was like, how do I do like not covers the whole time? And so it was like, yeah, bagpipes. So it's like Thunderstruck and Crazy Train and Hotel California and like all these really cool songs.
On the bagpipes.
Yes, on the
Neat.
bagpipes.
So in the last time you were with us, I said I hate the bagpipes.
Okay, great. Yeah.
Because I have some PTSD with the bagpipes, with a neighbor who would wake up every morning at 6 a.m. blaring the bagpipes.
That's fair.
But I will say, like, the Whiskey's Gone bagpipe sound, I did have on repeat for a while.
You can hardly hear it in that song.
You can hear it, and it's real good.
Well, thanks. And like every time I posted about that song and the bagpipes, it just like kept going viral. So I was like, the people want the bagpipes.
Give the people what they want.
Yeah. So the bagpipes are my identity now.
And it got you on stage with Shania Twain.
Well, that's the thing too, because
Yeah.
that morning
What festival was this at?
it was in Newfoundland, Churchill Park Festival. She was doing 3 nights and I was doing the last night, and I was in my hotel room that morning. Actually, the night before, we were like, oh, how can I get on stage with Shania Twain? Because she
Without
doesn't even
storming the stage.
Yes, she hardly meets people in her meet and greets, and like just because you open for somebody doesn't mean you're gonna get to actually like meet the headliner. Like hardly I meet the headliner, and I was like, how can I meet this gal? And I was like going through all her songs and finding out which songs could work on the bagpipes, because the bagpipes have like 9 notes, so you can only do so many things. And it was Any Man of Mine, so I sent her a clip of me playing it in the hotel that morning. And by sending her, I mean my manager sent her manager the clip, and her manager said yes, and then she sent it to Shania, and Shania said yes.
Cool.
And then but they were all like, she's so spontaneous on stage, where she's like, we have no idea what she's gonna do. Like, just go out there and do it. Literally. And I was like, okay. And I asked before, I'm like, does she play it in the same key as the original key? Because most artists, like on stage, they don't necessarily play everything in the same key. And it's been years since she put that song out. And they're like, don't worry about it. Like, you're not going to play the whole song. It's just going to be like a fun little thing on stage.
But if it's not the same key, that'll sound real bad.
Well, they thought that I was just going to go out and like play a little bit and then leave. But she was like, okay, let's go into it. And I had like in-ears and stuff, but I didn't have like the count in, and I didn't think they were actually going to start the song after I started playing. But I started playing the song, and then the whole band came in the wrong key, because I was in the original key. And she whispered to me, she's like, go to the back and figure out what key we're playing. You're playing the wrong key. So then I went to the back, and like my electric bagpipe, like it doesn't tell me what key I'm in. So I had to get them to like turn it off out front. And I'm like, can you mute this? I need to figure out. And then I was like, oh my God, I ruined my one shot with Shania. Like I didn't even get to, do a whole song. Anyways, I figured it out like right by the end, because the song also changes keys. It modulates in the middle of the song. Anyways, I was like, no, I'm getting back out there. So I literally ran back out there for the last little bit. And then she was like, let's do a duet. And I'm like,
Were you like, jaw to the ground?
but I'm also like, are we just gonna write a song like in the middle of stage? So something came to my mind. I was like, well, I have a song that is really easy to figure out. So then, if you've seen the video, she like learns the whiskey's gone, and she got it right away. And then she got her singers to come and sing with me, and it was like obviously the best moment of my life.
The video is really cool to see.
Yeah, it's really cool to see. And and it was kind of like a hometown show because my sister lives there and all her kids are there and my parents kind of live there. And that was like the first time they'd ever seen me play. Like I've been at this for 15 years and my sister had never seen me play before.
Oh my God.
So for her to watch me play, just open for Shania and then play with Shania was really crazy.
You should have been like, this happens all the time.
Yeah.
This is what you've been missing.
No big deal, yeah.
She must have been in the crowd like, that's my sister!
Yeah, maybe. And just like all her kids were there too, and they can like, go to their little friends and say, my aunt said yeah. Yeah. It was pretty cool.
That is so cool. That's like one of many cool things that you've got to do over the last like year and a bit. So I think let's just highlight some of the crazy people you've got to meet and play with and write with. I'm off the top of my head, I'm thinking Walker Hayes.
Right? Yes.
How did you end up there?
So I opened for him at college football national championship, which just happened like yesterday, the day before. So last year's, and that came through my manager because he loves football, and it was like one of the first gigs I ever had in the U.S. And it was opening for Walker, and I told my manager, I'm like, make sure I meet Walker because obviously, again, you don't always meet the headliner. And then he was like, we should write sometime. And a lot of times when people say that, they don't really mean it.
Yeah, okay. We'll write.
Yeah, we should write sometime. We'll hang out sometime. But I was like, no, I'm following up on this. So I made sure my manager followed up on it and set up a write. And that was the first write I ever had when I moved to Nashville. And
I didn't realize that. I didn't realize that part.
First write. So we were like driving to Nashville and I was trying to think of like what song I would want to write with Walker. And I thought it was going to be like because I had passed like 9 states and I was like, oh, it'd be cool to write a song like that. Alabama, Arkansas, I do love I was like, and like say Wyoming and Montana and like all these things. So that's what I pitched in the songwriting session. And it ended up obviously way not that. Super left field, but I was also writing with Walker Hayes and I wanted him to be Walker, so I kind of like sat back and was just like, whoa, this guy's cray cray, and I loved it. So but after I came out with the song and I was like, okay, I can't put this out, this is like too left field, I sent it to my friend Lydia, who I knew loved Walker Hayes, and she was like, oh my god, you need to put that out. I'm like, really? And then I sent it to my label and they were like, this is the song that we are gonna like get behind and do all the things. Anyways, yeah, super wild. So
yeah, that's not all. You ended up with a mural on Broadway.
Yes,
from that song.
That's so cool. And I filmed a music video at that same venue, Acme, and I had a bus with a mural on it. Party bus.
I think I saw it on TikTok.
Yeah, a whole banner, the Rowdy Bus.
And you learned to dance.
I learned to dance. I did. And I was like, you know what?
You should tell people what song this is.
It's called Nashville. Yeah.
There we go. Everyone's caught up now.
And I say the F word in it and all the things.
But then you say, Dolly, pardon my French.
I say Dolly Parton. And people are like, you are mocking Dolly. I'm like, what? Silly. So I've never had hate before. And
now you have.
Now I have hate. Well, I started getting hate on Creek, which was 2 songs before this. And I've never been offended, and I literally don't care what people think. How can you be in this industry if you do? And I loved it because if people are like writing about me or like hate me, at least they have something to hate.
Yeah, like you said, no bad publicity.
There's no bad PR.
Also, thanks for the engagement.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were writing all these blogs about me and putting the Nashville music video in it. And I'm like, yeah, but they are watching the video to then critique it. So you're putting money in my pocket.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
I think I've commented a few times. It's really hard not to comment back to these things, but I commented and said, "Thank you so much for the love on this. I appreciate you watching the video."
Thanks for the 25 cents. Ha ha ha.
Yeah, literally. But yes, I learned to dance, and I was from that video. I was like, "I'm the next Tate McRae, guys. This is me." Don't think that's true, but it was really fun.
Yeah, it was so fun.
Like, I did a show this weekend in Missouri, and there was like little girls doing that dance, and I was like, oh my God, I don't even remember the dance because it was like several months ago, and they were in the audience doing the dance. I was like, see,
Fun.
at least one person learned it.
That's so cute. I didn't learn it.
No, that's fair. It was really hard, so then I
We
had to
should
do
have put
like
out a
a
video of us
simple
attempting
version.
it.
She asked us to do it. You said, if I'm going to learn this, you guys should too. And you sent it, and I was like, no.
Well, I realized it was too hard, like the actual dance, because I hired dancers to do it. And then I was like, okay, I need a dumbed down version. And then we had like a bunch of influencers do the dance and stuff, and it was cool.
That is this what you expected when you moved to Nashville?
No. I mean, everything is like more exciting than I thought, because every time I came to Nashville before, it was like just disappointing. And, you know, no one ever really gave a shit. So, not that people give a shit now, but they give more shits.
More shits to give.
Clipping this. More shits.
You can't swear.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah.
No, that's
Yeah.
going on. That's going on TikTok.
They give one more shit, but still. No way.
No way.
Speaking of like getting the hate, one of my favorite videos that you've done in the last couple of years, excuse me, is you were sitting down and reading some of the like the hillbilly names that people were giving you, or like in your comments.
Mm-hmm.
So funny.
So funny.
What were some of them?
Well, your favorite was Avril Ravine, right?
That was my favorite. by
Yeah,
far.
because that's such a compliment.
That's so
Like-
funny.
Literally, my goal is to be Avril Lavigne. So, like, the country version of that, I'm so into that. And Hillbilly Eilish. There were some really good ones. But I loved that because it created, like, so much engagement on that video. Like, I'll take it.
That was so funny.
I really want an Avril Lavigne t-shirt.
A Creek Avril Lavigne.
That's what I'm looking for.
Or just, like, a collab with her. And then I can
Even
tell her that I'm Avril Lavigne.
That was a big jump from t-shirt, but I agree.
Yeah, that'd be pretty sweet. I didn't know I was an Avril Lavigne fan until the last like 3 years in a row. She was one of my top artists on my Spotify Wrapped. I was like, maybe I like her.
Whoa!
And that's so
Yeah.
weird because that was like immediately one thing I knew about you when I met you was that you really liked Avril Lavigne. So
Weird.
I
Like,
can't say
that
I
would've-
listen to her music anymore, but
Well, I go back apparently.
he saw her in Edmonton right after the CCMAs.
I did.
oh wow, I would love to see her live.
It was so fun.
Really? She's
It
good?
was like the day after the CCMAs in the same venue, and
Oh.
like there were still a few countrified items around. It was a very strange mind bend of like
That's interesting.
Logan in the country industry meets angsty teenage Logan wanna be a punk poser.
It was my first concert ever.
Really?
Yeah, when I was like 14.
Wow.
Mine was Hilary Duff.
Ooh, that's fun. She would definitely not be coming to PEI.
No, I don't think so. No.
What was my first concert? My first concert was Evanescence.
Whoa.
Yeah. I had feelings when I was 14.
Yeah, you did. You really did. Like, I bought that CD from my mom. I specifically remember going to the CD store and buying that for my mom for Christmas.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Logan, that means you're old.
I know.
Okay, we got it. Let's get through some of
Moving
these
on.
let's get through some of these highlights here. You move to Nashville, you write with Walker Hayes, you end up on Broadway dancing with a mural and it's on a bus and it's crazy. What else? What are some of those big highlights for you over the last year and you've lived in Nashville for about a year, right?
Yeah, almost.
Or almost?
Yeah, I mean, I always, like, I never wanted to move to Nashville until I had something, like, buzzing a little bit. And I can't believe that, like, that actually happened, where, like, I signed my record deal and I signed my publishing deal basically before I even moved to Nashville. So when I got here, it was just like, go time. And I think the biggest thing that I'm proud of this year is signing with Sony Music Publishing, because like having someone validate that you're a good songwriter, like because anyone can go on viral on TikTok, this and that, but when you're like writing songs every day and you're getting feedback from the biggest publishing company in the world, and you get to walk in and like have a job of being a songwriter, I think is like the most proud thing that I've ever done.
I think that's really cool too. And you've got to write with some cool fucking people.
Yeah, they set me up with amazing people, and every day I go to the room and I'm like, I'm not worthy to be here, but thank you. There's a lot of imposter syndrome when you're going in the room with these people.
I was just gonna say, when do you manage the imposter syndrome, or when do you decide, fuck it, I do belong here?
Yeah, you kind of just have to pep talk yourself, where like I was walking in a room with John Knight and Lindsay Rhymes, who have had like a million number ones, and I didn't really look them up before, because sometimes I don't, or I just don't have time. I just look at my schedule and I go, and Lindsay Rhymes was on week like 10 of having a number one with Nate Smith that day. And I didn't like mention it, or because I didn't even know about it. I was just like, oh, cool, I get to write with this guy named Lindsay and John Knight. And then I look after and I'm like, holy shit, that's why we got a really good song.
That's probably better you didn't look it up.
Yeah, it's probably better not
Yeah.
to look.
Yeah. Or like Tim Nichols, I wrote this song called Houston, I'm the Problem. He has had so many number ones. And he's just like a humble, man, and obviously an amazing songwriter. But I still don't feel like I deserve to be in these rooms, but I appreciate that I am.
That's fair. You should listen to the podcast Songwriter Soup. Have you heard of it?
No.
I forget who hosts it, but Fran Litursky?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, when she was here, she recommended it. She's like, you'll like it because you'll like to hear like the humble beginnings of these people, but I feel like you would like it to remind you that they started where you are too.
Yeah, for sure. I was on a Zoom call this morning with Sony. They do like a kickoff to the year, and they bring in artists, and I sent you a picture this morning, and it was the president of Sony and Jason Aldean, and then my dog watching it with me. And I was like, I'm on a Zoom call with Jason Aldean right now. Like, how crazy is this?
Isn't that?
The things like
Pickles, it's Jason Aldean.
Pickles, look! Where a year ago, I was like, I couldn't have been more independent, And it just goes to show you need to go to every freaking networking event, because you might meet someone that changes your whole life, which is what happened.
Exactly what happened, which is very funny, because I remember it's such a funny thing that weekend is what just like turned everything around, because all of a sudden you were on a small tour and this manager was like, don't act dumb. We don't want to scare him away. Because we're good at acting dumb. We are good at acting dumb, okay?
Very good. Yeah, and I mean, I met my manager at the CCMAs, and I had already booked that Kid G tour. And that my manager like started working with me before he even saw me live. And there was a lot of things that went wrong on that tour, like sound-wise, and it was really weird. So for him to see me on those shows for the first time, he was like, what did I sign up for? What did I sign up for? But it's been great moving forward.
How did you and your manager meet at the CCMAs? This feels like a good time to plug those cool opportunities that they give people.
Yeah. That year was the first year that they did a program where they brought in like executives from other countries and people in the music industry, and I had just signed up for it. It's free. And that year at the CCMAs, like I honestly wasn't even going to go because it's so expensive. I was living in Kelowna, and I was going to be in Hamilton, and like paying for your flight and your hotel, and then having to buy like conference stuff on top of it, like seminars and stuff, it can be so expensive as like us starving artists. But I was like, I'm gonna go to everything that's free. I'm not really gonna pay for anything, and so that was free. And I met him, and you got like 30 minutes. Like they had to approve you too. So the fact that I applied and they approved me, and they specifically put me with Brad, my manager. And we sat in a room, and the first thing he said, he's like, I know nothing about you. I don't even know like why I'm here. And I was like, oh, sweet.
Great.
Thanks.
Great
Okay,
stuff.
well, I'm Alli. I'm super independent, and I'm supposed to be here to pick your brain. So I just like told him, and then I was telling him I'm independent, and like, you know, I can't get arrested in Canada by anyone in the industry. Like, no one cares. Literally,
You
no
got
one
arrested,
cares.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I bet, you know, I mean, nobody's
Yeah.
like, I can't seem to move the needle at all in the Canadian country music industry. And he was just like, that's weird. Like, there must be something wrong with you. And then he looked up like my socials and did all his background checks. And he came back and he was like, I want to manage you because all you need is like a third party validation of someone to pick you up and open those doors. Like, you've done the work of over a decade. So that's exactly what I did, and that's exactly what I needed, and that's exactly what people need sometimes, is just somebody to be their champion. And it's sad that like not everybody's gonna have that someday, you know? And you can't do everything yourself. As much as like being an independent artist, you can be an independent artist, but you still need team members to help you get to that next level. That's definitely what I've realized this year.
Well, you just answered I was going to say, what have you learned over the last year? And I suppose that might be it. What about for people who aren't going to find that champion? What do you think those key things are to always be working on or focusing on?
To be ready for the opportunity when it comes, because you will meet somebody that believes in you or will help you open a door. Like I even met, oh, I've got a doggy here right now.
Puppy!
Nichols.
That's Peanut.
Peanuts?
How are you opening that door? Do you have thumbs? Sorry. What was I saying?
If you are
You have to,
an
you have to
independent
chop that.
artist and you don't have that champion, you said be ready.
Yeah,
for
you
that.
have to check off like every single box that you possibly can until you're banging your head against the wall that nobody will pay attention to you. So if you can do so many things yourself. You can apply for factor grants. You can put albums out. You can do anything through CD Baby and TuneCore. You can apply for conferences. You can meet every single person that you can. Go to Canadian Music Week and the CCMAs and apply for SiriusXM Top of the Country, Boots and Hearts Emerging Showcase. There's so many different things you can do where you might not win or you might not get it, but at least you get to like talk to people. And the more people see your face, that helps. And obviously social media, like that's our biggest marketing tool is social media. And that was one thing I did. I was like, I have no team. How can I reach the masses? And it's obviously TikTok. But even like being signed to a label, they still want you to go viral on your own. Like you are basically independent still when you're with a label because they want you to be the one doing the work of it going viral, because that's just how the music industry is now.
What about when there was a 12-hour blackout of TikTok? 1, did you go crazy? 2, you didn't get let back in right away anyways. So what were you like, maybe we don't get this back and I don't have to do this? Or were you like, no, I love this? Because you've always been like on social media.
I loved TikTok like a few years ago when the algorithm was in our favor. But you'll see all the people that went viral during like COVID and everyone's numbers are down. So it's really hard to go viral. But obviously when you do, like you look Ella Langley or that Double Wide song, like they are changing these people's lives. So we're all chasing that like moment to go viral. Which is like not really healthy, but can also change your life if it does happen. When we had the 12-hour blackout, I was like, yay, we all get to like have a level playing field. Almost like when COVID happened. I'm like, oh, we're all at the same level now, you know? But then I was like, shoot, I miss it.
Shoot,
because
we're all at the same level.
yeah. But I get way better engagement on Instagram. So, and like authentic engagement. Like I'll have like 5 comments on TikTok and I'll have 300 comments on Instagram. So it's way better for me personally on Instagram because I feel like people are actually following me like for me, and you're not dealing with an algorithm as much. But TikTok owns CapCut, and CapCut is a great editing tool. So when CapCut went down, I was more worried about that than TikTok.
True. I love CapCut.
I didn't know that until the blackout, and you all were like, CapCut's gone too!
Yeah. Yeah, it was not good. I'm glad it's back. I did check it like 100 times in one day.
To see if it was back. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, why did yours not come back? Did you figure it out or did it just show up?
No, I had to use a VPN and say I was in Canada, and now it's back. I don't know.
Huh. Yeah. That's so strange. That's so strange.
Now I'm back. But like, I love TikTok for my mental health. Like, I go on there and I just scroll, and my algorithm's great. It gives me like the happiest things: doggies, babies, funny,
my algorithm knows
cooking.
me so well.
Yes.
My algorithm is the worst, which maybe reflects.
Restart it.
What?
You can refresh the algorithm. You go into your settings and say
pause,
refresh, or I forget
Whoa.
what it is.
On my way.
Every once in a while, I get down a rabbit hole of like some weird ass TikTok corner, and I have to reset my feed.
Where am I going? This
remember.
isn't.
Why are we doing this right now?
Because it takes 5 seconds, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's somewhere in settings. I don't remember where.
I don't even know where settings are. Nope, I found it. Settings.
I can't imagine starting at 0 though. Like, I have a burner TikTok account that I used to try stuff on.
What's it called? Why
I
can't
think it's like my dog one, Pickles and Peanut or something. But like, because the more shares, the more likes. So I'll go on that account and then share and like it.
Oh yeah.
Refresh your feed.
And that algorithm is messed up. Oh wow.
Oop.
Bye.
So like the next like hour, you'll be like scrolling, be like, I made a mistake. But then within a day, it'll be back. It'll like to what you want.
I just think mine's all the reason upsetting content. I just don't mind so randomized, and I hate it. Like, it doesn't know me anymore unless I don't know me, and that's what.
Well, I think that's the problem.
That might be the problem.
No,
that's the problem.
That's so sad. Anyways, how are Pickles and Peanut my best friends?
They're the best. It gives me anxiety of how many shows we have this year that I don't get to bring them to.
Why didn't you get a tour bus yet for them to live on?
Well, I don't have $500,000 at this very moment to buy a tour bus to bring my dogs, but I'll let you know when I do.
Somebody built a tour bus.
Yeah, we learned that both Kyle McKierney and Tim of the Glory Boys both build tour buses.
Yeah, and you see their Instagrams, they break down every day.
Savage.
That is a detail that I didn't ask about.
No, reliability. Not good.
Exactly. And Canada's different. Like, it's obviously so vast where, I just did a show in Missouri and I drove there in 6.5 hours in my truck. So it's like, it's not that hard to tour in the US.
Is it that close? Sheesh.
And Nashville's so centralized. Like, you can drive everywhere. I mean, I have a gig in like Vegas. Obviously, I'm not going to drive to Vegas.
Not everywhere.
And I have a gig in Portland. I'm not going to drive to Portland, but...
Did you think you were going to be driving back to Ontario as much as you did last year after moving to Nashville? Because I feel like you were back and forth and you drove.
Yeah, I drove so that I could bring my dogs. And no, but I hadn't gotten a US booking agent yet last year. So I had all my gigs already booked from like still being super Canadian. So now this year, it's like all American dates, which is terrifying because I'm going to these cities where I'm like, why do you know me? I'm like a little gal from Prince Edward Island. Like this weekend was my first American show where it was like a headlining show and it was at a theater. And I'm like, a theater? No one's going to be there. Like that's a soft theater. You have to sell actual tickets. It's not like a bar that has a built-in crowd, And I sold tickets, which was so crazy. And these people came out, and it was all because they found me most of them found me on YouTube, which is interesting.
Cool.
Did you expect that?
No. Yeah, my manager was there, like, doing market research, and he was asking all the people in line at my meet and greet, like, why do you know her?
I don't put it exactly that way.
Yeah, it's just such an interesting point of my career of, like, doing shows. And, like, this guy, I had to my show got canceled, not by choice, the next day. And this guy was like, I flew here from Florida to Arkansas to see you because I liked the venue and I thought it would be really up close and personal. And then it got canceled and this guy's out a flight and a hotel, which I feel terrible about. It wasn't my choice canceling, but
You should send him free merch.
yes, I am. I DM'd him and he really appreciated the message. But like, it's crazy that anyone is gonna fly or travel to see me.
Yeah, you're just
How do you-
easy to hate. No fans. No, not likable.
It's still really weird to me.
How do you like rectify that in your head, or how do you balance like all these people that I don't know me and they're fans? How do you like keep like some kind of like fan relationship with these people, even though you're like, I don't know how you know me, but you obviously do, and I don't know you, and that's weird. Is it weird? I don't know.
Well, I do meet and greets after every show. So anyone that wants to come say hi, like obviously I'd love to see everybody. But I have a really hard time remembering faces and names. So people
Well, yeah.
will come up to me and like mention that they've seen me again, and I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry, because I can't even remember my friend's name, you know? So, but like, there's something, you know, I saw met Taylor Swift a few times, and I remember when I met her like the third time, she like remembered me, or maybe she didn't, but she made me feel like she remembered me. And so I have to learn how to do that.
That's a hard skill, and like some people are just born with it. Like
Yeah.
Brett Kissel is great at that.
Yes, he is.
Like, I met him when he was first doing his first radio tour ever, when I was working in radio in Ottawa. And he came and met everybody, and then like half a year later he did another radio tour, and he was like sounding off everyone's name. Like maybe someone was telling him, like reminding him of who everyone was, but my God, that's a skill.
It is, and I'm sure it helps him in business.
I cannot do it.
I say nice to meet you to people I've met 5 times.
I've stopped saying
You just
that.
have to start saying nice to see you.
Yeah.
I know. That is what I do. But then I'll put my foot in my mouth and be like, have we met? And they're like, yeah, I've been to your house.
I've been to your house and you're like, why? Was I there?
I
you?
did that with a fiddle player, Shane Goose, that came to our house to play fiddle on one of my songs. And then I was like, so nice to meet you. And he's like, I've been to your house.
Sorry.
I know. Sorry.
Oopsies.
Yeah, it's not just you, bro. It's everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't even do it with like song titles either. Like we saw this about 10 minutes ago when I tried to come up with a song title of yours. Can't do it.
You did this to Parker too.
I did. Someone like I played a game once, like a trivia game, and it had to do with like artist song. Like name a song from this artist. I was like, I don't know. It's like Britney Spears. I'm like, I couldn't tell you.
Yeah,
A song by Britney Spears? Are you freaking kidding?
I mean,
I could say that I'm the
Yeah.
biggest fan of someone, and they're like, "Oh, really? Tell me 5 songs." I'd be like, "Oh, I don't know,"
yeah, same.
Yeah.
Same. Can't do it.
even though I've listened to all their music my whole life.
We are getting close, but I think we should talk about your single coming out Friday, featuring somebody kind of cool.
Very cool.
How'd this come about? How did First Time Living, how did, one, you decide, you figure out how to make me cry in a song? Yeah.
Actually, or you're lying?
No, not lying. Actually, so Meg sends me, she sends me a TikTok you post with a clip from First Time Living saying, this makes me cry, and I was like, soft. And then I listened on the radio the other day, and I was like, sitting beside my mother, and I was like, it is her first time living. I should be nicer.
It is a great.
So I never sent you the whole song before?
I don't remember. I don't think so. That's rude.
Yeah, what the heck? It is a heart springs
it
song.
is.
Honestly, when I put it on and I listen to it in the car, I'm like, oh wow, that's like a really well written song. And then I pat myself on the back.
She's humble.
She's a humble girl. But that was honestly, I played it for Sony Publishing, and I was in the room with everybody, and it was like the first time that I felt like a real songwriter too, where the president of Sony Publishing, Rusty, was like, you need to pat yourself on the back because it's very hard to write a song that's never been done before, a concept that's never been done before. And I'm like, and that's what everyone chases because everything's been done. Every thought's been thought, you know? And having Gretchen on it, obviously, was so cool, but it actually wasn't a mother-daughter duo. We wrote it, the second verse was like about, you know, giving grace to your boyfriend that, you know, was mean to you in high school or something.
No, never give grace to him.
Yeah, and it was like, oh, whatever, we're all kids, like, yeah, we make mistakes. But I was like, what if it was you were talking to your mother and or just a parent in general, being like, wow, you may have not been the most perfect parent in the world, but I need to give you grace because it was literally your first time being a parent. Like, it's not like any of us know how to be a parent. And I got to live that in real life this holiday season. My parents visited for a month, and you're never going to get along with anybody for a month. So we both had to, like, give ourselves some grace where it's like, yeah, it's our first time living too. And what you just said, probably, I wouldn't say, but.
Yeah, like Gretchen Wilson, in case someone missed that. Let's, you know.
Yes, first time living featuring Gretchen Wilson.
The original Redneck Woman. How did you two get connected on that?
Well, I have honestly loved Gretchen forever. She was my first country concert. It was Gretchen Wilson, Sugarland, Brooks and Dunn, and Alan Jackson.
You got to hit all those at the same time.
Yeah, it was a festival. I can't remember if it was Moncton or Halifax, but somewhere on the East Coast. And I loved Redneck Woman, All Jacked Up, Here for the Party, Homewrecker, like, love all of her stuff, honestly. And when I was thinking about, because I wanted, like, obviously someone older that could have been the mother. So I was like, who could it be? Shania, Gretchen, Reba, you know, all the Reba.
Logan would be not here if it was Reba. He'd already have been deceased.
I'd be passed away.
I didn't even think of trying to reach Reba, but Gretchen was my gal. She was my number one. And it just happened that my manager knew her. She doesn't have a manager, but it's like someone that kind of chats with her. And he sent her the song. And she said that she automatically cried, sent it to her mom, and said she must have written the song specifically about me and my life.
Aww.
And I didn't realize that it actually was her life. Like, her mom had 2 kids. Her mom had her really young. And she has a daughter named Grace. Gretchen does. And the first line of the chorus is, "Don't we all need a little grace?" And she was like,
God.
Aww.
I know. Yeah. So she was like in right away. And, you know, sometimes people say, you know, they want to collab with you, whatever, but it doesn't actually go through, you know, for legal purposes or for schedule purposes. So for us to actually, like, be able to get in the studio, get her on the track, she agrees to everything, and everything goes through, and it's about to come out, and it's already on radio. It is, like, amazing.
It's already on radio, you just said, because you are the current Rogers one to watch. That's
Yay!
crazy.
Yeah. I've like sent songs to radio super independently, and it never really be played before. Or, like, sometimes radio, they really wanted to play one of my last songs, but I didn't go to radio, so there was no push. So this time it's like an actual push to radio, which is so lovely. And it's the first time I'm getting feedback from radio programmers that are saying, we've been waiting for a song like this from Alli that we can promote, because they've supported me, like, from the sidelines, a lot of these radio stations. But this time they're like, finally we can, like, go all in, which is nice.
That must be... Did you think when you wrote that... Who'd you write that song with, by the way?
Kat Higgins of the Higgins Family Band, Canadian gal, and Whitney Duncan, who is an artist on her own as well. So I had never written with Whitney, and I hadn't talked to Kat for 10 years. I used to write with her when I first started coming to Nashville. And yeah, we were just set up, like, through Sony, and we were in a room. Normally, all of my writing sessions have a track person, like some kind of producer that come out with something at the end of the day. And we were just in this tiny little room, and we just had our guitars, and I was kind of like, oh man, we're not gonna have a track that sucks. But it ended up obviously being amazing, that it was just so much more, like, intimate. And I am, like, kind of a perfectionist, and I never just post something online without thinking 10,000 times about it, or like re-singing something 10,000 times because one little note is like out of tune. But as soon as I got home, I played it and I posted it on social media, and it's like not perfect, but I loved that about it, and that I was okay with it not being perfect because that's literally what the whole song is about.
Did you, when you like wrote that day, did you like sit there after and you're like, that might have been a good one?
Yeah, you always feel it for sure. And I sent it to my manager right away, and he's like, "Holy moly, that's the one." So everyone gets the vibes.
This is like a little bit of a softer side too, because you were putting out some, as you called it, bra country. I like big trucks, creek, dirt on us. It was a little more like rock and hard, and now you've kind of like leaned into a little softer side.
I'm getting back to it. Don't worry. We're getting back to the bra. Honestly, that's my favorite thing to do.
I think it's
Is
hilarious
like
for starters. It's bra country.
Me too.
instead of bro country, it's
Well,
bra country.
Fuck the boys. They don't get to own bro country.
Yeah. Well, and I love
don't get an
listening to
opinion.
bro country. And like that is my style. Like I loved, Tyler Hubbard and Florida Georgia Line, Morgan Wallen, Hardy. I love that stuff. So I was just like, I want that sound, but as a girl. So yeah, Big Trucks and Creek and Dirt on Us really fit in that. And then we went super left with Nashville, obviously. And then I had this song Kitchen Floor that had been in my catalog forever. And I was just like, it needs to come out because I've been bro country for these songs and then super left for Nashville. I'm like, let's bring it back to a song that can show like I can write a song and I do have a heart and I am a, humble little gal from a small place. Like, so that was a nice song to intro that. And then, yeah, kind of having like two back-to-back songs like this is showing people, I guess, more of a softer side to me. But after this, you don't know what's coming.
But
Back
even
at
having
it.
like Gretchen on this song, it's like still a little broad country. I mean,
Yeah.
she's the
She's
original
like,
redneck.
exactly. Yeah. I mean, she's obviously like the inspo, like added to my inspo of life of like, redneck vibes. So that is cool to have her on it. But
So if let's say you wrote all of these things down that you've got to do over the last year, and
I
you're like,
did.
these are gonna happen. You know what? There's a lot of things that you have put on vision boards and they have happened, to be fair.
Yes.
So what's not checked off yet? What's yet to be checked off?
Well, I had a vision board girls' night this week, actually.
Fun.
With other artists. Alli, another Alli, and Lydia Sutherland and Royal Lynn. And I am not like one that just opens a magazine and like cuts things out. I actually print, like I Photoshop myself into situations and then I print them and then I put it
Then
on
you
the
can
vision
show
board.
people when they happen, right?
Exactly. So like, and then I have my XL version of Vision Board 2 where I get to like change it from white to red or green once I get it. So like this year, obviously like record deal and publishing deal, booking agent, wanted to be on Music Row magazine and play CMA Fest and festivals in the US. So yes, I got to cross a lot off, but and at the end of the year, I went through my whole calendar and I wrote down every single thing I accomplished this year and I sent it to my manager and my husband and I was like, holy moly, like we need to take a second and realize all the things that happened this year. And I got a journal and I started in January 2024 and I'm going through the whole thing and writing it out how I felt about it because I wish I did it in the moment, but like I need to start journaling more because I don't want to forget like these amazing moments. But for this year, oh God, I've never been on a proper tour, like where it's a long stint and I'm like opening for an amazing artist. So I've been waiting for like the right offer, I guess, that like with an artist that like really fits with me. That's on my list. Yeah, I could literally open up my goal sheet right now, but it's like, having a number one in Canada on radio, having a song go to radio in the US in general. Oh my god, I'm blanking. But there's a million
There's some
things.
pretty big ones, yeah.
Yeah, those are some hefty goals.
Yes.
I love
And
it.
then there's like money goals, and because this is a business. And then there's I mean, I wanted to like tour outside of the US and Canada, so I'm going to Australia. I'm going
Fun.
to London a few times, and Wales, and Scotland, and Berlin, Germany. So going all over the place. Crazy.
She's global.
She's global.
Okay, I think we're getting close to an hour. Do we want to play this little
Yeah.
situation that we've been randomly doing? Doesn't have a name yet, so if
Yeah,
you're
we don't have a name
listening and
for
you
it
have an
yet.
idea, go ahead.
If anyone, if anyone listening has an idea, let us know.
I got inspired, maybe not inspired, it's just random. Regardless, we've been going through the catalogs of people and getting a vibe check on where they were at at certain songs.
I
Um,
I've
and
deleted a lot of stuff, so I'm curious if you found it.
I have enough.
Jenna knows
Okay.
all.
Okay.
What did you delete? No, there's enough there. Okay. I think I want to work from the top down instead of the opposite this time,
Sure.
though. Because
It's our podcast. We make the rules.
you're right. Okay. So let's start with Kitchen Floor then. Like, tell us, what was the vibe? Where were you at when you were writing it? Like, mentally, whatever.
What was the vibe? Well, I was living in Victoria, British Columbia with my in-laws, and I had just moved there from Toronto, and I was like sitting in the kitchen and having some wine and like looking at their floors and walls and realizing that there was like scratches and dents everywhere. So I got the inspiration for that song from that. And it was, hey, it's so cool that all of these scratches and dents hold like memories that have happened over the years, good and bad. So I wrote that in my little notes in my phone, and I went to Nashville and I wrote with the co-writers of that for the first time, and I just brought this idea out, and I think that was the first song I'd written in that trip. Like, I kept coming back and forth from Nashville to Canada for the last 13 years basically, but this was the point where I was starting to like get to write with like really good writers. And you'd meet one writer and they'd be into your vibe, so then next time I went they would bring me in with like other people, and this was like a really good room. Matt Morrissey, Jess Kane, and Brinley Addington, and they just got the vibe that I was going for that song right away. And it happened, and it was like I was holding it in my back pocket for years, like 2 years to put out. So glad it's finally out.
That's crazy it did take that long, actually.
Yeah.
Okay, what about red wine or whiskey?
That is my top streaming song still,
Mm-hmm.
which is crazy. Red Wine or Whiskey I wrote during COVID on Zoom, and it was my first time writing with Zach Ouimet, and Craig, and Aaron Pollock, and Craig came in with the idea, and we just wrote it. My husband did the demo, and it sounded awesome, and it like, I don't even know if it really went viral on social media, but it just seems to be like my most streaming song.
It was like a good, like the DSP support on that
Yeah.
one, I feel like was really good.
Yeah, it's like put the word whiskey in your song and it does well.
Literally. Okay, what about, let's talk about I Like Big Trucks, because that's funny.
Well, that one I wrote with Stu Walker from the Rec Laws, and Madison Kozak, who's also a Canadian artist, and Togs, who's a Canadian producer, but I did it in Nashville. And it was my first time writing with all of them. And we were just like throwing around ideas, and Stu was like, "This is really stupid." And I was like, "Perfect, say it." And he's like, "What if instead of I like big butts, it's I like big trucks?" And I was like, "Hell yeah." Because I came in with the idea of wanting to write a song about trucks, and how like I thought it was going to be more sentimental because I do drive a truck, and I grew up a truck girl and a tomboy, and like my dad always loved Rams, so I would just wanted to write a truck song. And he said that, and I was like, hell yeah. So we looked up like if there was any other songs like that, and there was just like one parody about like a truck dealership or something. So we ended up actually getting permission from Sir Mix-a-Lot, who sings I Like Big Butts and I Cannot Lie, Baby Got Back. And so he's a songwriter on it. And the fact that, like, again, kind of like the Gretchen thing, it actually went through and he allowed us to put it out and, you know, everything was kosher was pretty cool.
That's so wild.
Did he have to have a writing credit on that?
Yeah, he has a writing credit.
That's
on
so
that one.
funny. That
Yeah.
you have
But
a
then all the
writing
other
credit.
songwriters had to agree to,
Yeah.
you know, his split of that and stuff. And yeah, that's a fun one. I
It
still
is a
love
fun
that
one. What's, maybe you won't tell us, like one that's not out yet that you're excited for at some point. Maybe one that you've teased on, like, because you
Yeah.
went back to
Yeah.
like the good old days too of sharing demos. And
Yes.
what's one of those ones that you're
I've
pumped
put
for?
out like 19 demos, I think, or something. Like, I have no shame. I have all these amazing songs and they're never going to be heard, which is so sad. So the one song I don't think I'll ever put out, maybe I will, but we've been trying, like, oh, one of my goals this year was also to get an outside cut because I've never had somebody else cut one of my songs and I'd love for it to be a US artist. This song would be so perfect for, you know, a guy. It's called Back 40 Pew. And it's like a faith-based song without being super religious, but it's just like finding faith in like your backyard instead of a church pew. And so we've been pitching it like from all angles. Like publishing's pitching it, I'm texting it to people, the writers are texting it to people. I co-wrote it with a bunch of people, or 3 other people. One of them, Danny Rader, he plays for Kenny Chesney. So I'm like, send it to Kenny Chesney.
Send it to
you know,
Kenny.
like-
Yeah, that sounds like right up his alley.
Yeah, and I think every song's the best song you've ever written after you just start writing more songs, but I think that is a solid song that I hope like a Thomas Rhett cuts, or Brett Young, or Drew Baldridge, someone like that, yeah.
Sick.
That'd be cool
Yeah.
if it were Drew Baldridge too, because he's like doing things independent artists don't often
Yeah.
achieve in the US, which is huge.
He's actually signed now, and he
Is
basically
he?
has, yeah, his
Good for him.
DMG or something. So
Cool.
I just had a call with him, like he was on that same thing that I was talking about with Jason, where Sony brought in these artists, and they were talking about what type of songs they need pitched and written to them. So then I DM'd him after, and I was like, "Here's a song for you." And then I got all the songwriters to DM him too. Because I'm like, hey, if everyone does it, maybe he'll listen. And he's
Yeah.
the nicest guy ever. So I would love for him to cut that song.
That would be cool. I love that.
Yeah.
19 demos you put out, eh? That's
Something like that, yeah.
what were the popular ones, do you think? The most
So
popular.
I think the most popular was Ride It Out, which is a bagpipe song. And I
Yeah.
already have played that live. And I think we're going to go into production on that like really soon. I think that'll be my next song, Ride It Out.
Cool.
But another song I'm so excited about, but it's so heavy, is called Hell or High Heels.
I like that one too. It's fun live.
It's so fun, and I started talking about the meaning behind the song more, and I think people like really get into it because of that, because I wrote it for like girls and women in sports, and there's not enough. Like growing up, I used to listen to like Black Betty and We Are the Champion and, you know, all these men songs when I was playing sports. So I was like, there's no song that's sung by a female. Maybe like that one Katy Perry song. I forget what it is, but Roar, yeah.
Okay.
So
The
like
one
this is
time I
kind of
can
like
pull out a song.
my version of Roar, but it's like I specifically wrote it for women in sports, kind of inspired by like the Olympics. That American rugby player,
Ilona.
yeah,
She's
and I was
iconic.
like, she's so iconic, and I was like, she needs a song. So
She needs
I
a
kinda
theme
wrote it for
song.
her.
I love
Yeah.
that.
So we're trying to like, you know, put it out in collab with some kind of women's sports team, because it is like a little too heavy for me to just put out on my own. But if it was like in conjunction with something, it'd be good.
Thanks for joining us, Alli, for the second time on the porch.
Thank you for having me. After watching like some of your other episodes where people are saying like such inspirational things, I'm like, I'm sorry I didn't give you any of that.
We promise to at least put one clip out that makes you look good.
Oh, okay, perfect.
Thanks for listening to another episode of On the Porch with Front Porch Music. We're so lucky to be able to chat with artists and make episodes like this one. If you like the podcast, remember to rate and review us, and subscribe so you don't miss an episode. It's the easiest way to support the show. Remember to check out frontporchmusic.ca to keep up with new music releases, exclusive artist interviews, and more. We'll catch you again on the porch in a couple of weeks. On the Porch is hosted by Logan Miller and Jenna Weiser, and produced and edited by Jason Saunders. That's me. Our theme song was written, produced, and performed by Owen Wigman.